Okay, Pat, this is the stretching routine I'm going to have you do. So a prerequisite to the stretching routine is what we went over today. That's the making sure the spine is in a neutral position. So the first thing we want to do is make sure our feet are about hip width distance apart. All right, we're going to tighten our glutes up to maintain that neutral pelvic position. We're going to visualize a string attached to the top of our head that's pulling our spine vertically. So that's going to naturally allow for the chin to go back, allow for the chin to retract, and the cervical spine to kind of fall in place. What I was talking about today, you kind of have this thing going. By doing this, it's going to allow for the chin to retract naturally and put that cervical spine back in place. Take the chin out of this position. So tighten the glutes, get that pelvis into a neutral position. You can loosen the glutes up once the pelvis shifts into that neutral position, okay? We're gonna pull on the string, let the spine, visualize the spine vertically expanding this way. Let the chin drop back naturally. Once you establish this, we're gonna slightly retract the scapula to where our thumbs are pointing forward, okay? So this is gonna put us in that good position. So when we retract the scapula, what you don't want to do, and you'll be able to see it a little better if I take this big sweater off, what you don't want to do is you don't want to flex the thoracic spine to get the shoulders back. You want to actually keep the thoracic spine in a neutral position here, and then you're going to draw the scapula back. So now we're in the correct position to get started, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is a pistol stance. So once we establish this posture, we're going to take the hands behind the back. You're going to make a gun, all right? Clasp the hands together. You're going to depress the shoulders, maintaining that neutral position, the posture. You're going to depress the shoulders. You're going to draw the scapula back as far as you can, and you're going to raise the arms, okay? So most people, including myself, you're not going to have a good range of motion. You may, but I'm guessing you're not going to. Most people won't be able to get the arms back too far. So the goal is to gradually work your way up to that. We're going to shoot for about a 2-minute hold in one set of that. When you're finished with that, we're going to do a shoulder extension. So what I like to do is there's a bar behind me. I'm going to put my hands on the bar. Let me just rotate this a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to put my hands on the bar, okay? You can do an overhand grip or an underhand grip. An overhand grip is going to secure you a little bit better. So again, the prerequisite posture, we have to maintain that throughout every single movement we do. And I definitely suggest that you practice that all the time, all day, every day, okay? So good posture, same deal, drawing the shoulders back, okay? Elongate the spine. I'm going to have you bring one foot forward, one foot back. I'm going to drop to the knee. So I maintain this scapular retraction, and I'm going to start to drop to one knee like I'm doing a lunge. You're going to gradually work your way down to the floor, okay? And if you're anything like me, this is difficult, okay? You're going to drop to the floor in this position. If you notice my head's forward, okay? I'm going to gradually try to work it back a little bit, okay? But the lack of flexibility in my shoulders in that position is driving the head forward, so it's going to be difficult. But the goal is to keep this retraction, keep the thoracic spine neutral, drop to the knee. You're going to hold that for 2 minutes. Next thing we're going to do is shoulder external rotation, okay? Same deal, posture, all right? You're going to depress the shoulders, okay? Push the shoulders down into the hips to engage the lat muscles. We're going to keep the arms out in this position, about a 90-degree angle, 90-degree bend in that shoulder, elbows down towards the hips, so we're upright. You're going to extend out this way. We're going to initiate this movement by retracting the scapula together. So I'm drawing my shoulder blades back. That's where the movement is initiated. So my shoulders are initiating that movement. I'm not just like moving my arms. My shoulders are basically dictating how far my arms go out by retracting the scapula. And you're going to feel a lot of contraction in your lats and the muscles, the traps and the rhomboids, all the muscles in the back near the shoulder blades and even the lower, like the lower portion of your lats, you're going to feel those muscles engaged. The next thing we're going to do is floor angels. So that is done with a foam roller. I suggest, because you're taller, I use 2 of these. But at home I have a 6-inch in diameter by 36-inch length foam roller. That would be your best bet, because these sometimes will like shift when you're lying on them. But I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you're going to make sure that the spine is supported by these foam rollers. All right, and I'm going to get on the mat here. All right, and I'm going to support my spine with the foam roller. I'm going to depress my shoulders. I don't know if the camera is getting this. Hopefully it is. I'm going to depress my shoulders down to the floor, and I'm going to extend my arms out like I'm making like a snow angel on the ground. So I'm maintaining that good postural position of making sure that my chin is tucked in. I'm elongating my spine along the foam roller, and I'm just spreading the arms out. So they're going to be 3 distances, about 45 degrees, about 90 degrees, and then you're going to take them up as close to 180 as you can. Okay? So what I mean by that is, just pretend I'm lying down here. So 45, 90 to the torso, 180 up. The whole time you're doing that, the foam roller and gravity is allowing for you to stay stationary on that, and you're drawing the shoulders back. You know, you're in a lying position. What I want you to do is, when you get into this position, we're going to start here. We're going to do a trap stretch and a scalene stretch, okay? So this is what we're doing. We're going to rotate, we're going to rotate laterally. So pretend I'm lying on the rollers. You're going to rotate laterally this way, and you're going to hold for about a minute, and then we're going to rotate. So we're turning the chin, looking down towards the shoulder this way, okay? And hold for a minute. Then we're going to do the other side, okay? We're going to do trap, stretch, and then scalene stretch. Then we're going to move to the 90-degree angle, okay? Trap, scalene, and then we're going to go to 180, okay, as high up as we can. Now, if you have some external rotation issues, you're going to have a tough time, mobilizing your shoulder. So what I want you to do is maintain that same position. It's a little easier to do on the foam roller. Do not flex the thoracic spine. And what I mean by that is, when you're raising the arm up, let's say you can only get here, you're trying to compensate by flexing the spine to get the shoulder back. I want you to keep the spine neutralized by contracting the abdomen and just raise the shoulder up. As high as you can get that shoulder, high as you can get that shoulder without compensating and flexing the spine. Because if you're flexing the spine, it defeats the purpose. So we're trying to open all this up and mobilize those shoulders. That's going to help. It's going to not only help you be a little functionally stronger, more flexible up top, perform the exercises correctly, but it's going to help on that posture. Okay, it's going to help keep everything in place. So the next thing we have is seated hamstring stretch. So hopefully this is picking it up. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Okay. So the seated hamstring stretch, you're going to use a foam roller again. You're going to take a seat and put it up against the wall on the balls of your feet. You're going to keep your feet close together. I like to keep my feet together. And the purpose of the foam roller is to get your foot in dorsiflexion. So if you're just stretching normally, it's here. We want to try to get that as far back, your toes as close to the shin as we can. As much of a dorsiflexion as we can. It's really going to stretch the calves and hamstrings out. What I want you to do is use your arms to keep your torso, to keep your spine upright. And again, maintain that prerequisite spinal position, elongated, nice and straight. Everything's where it should be. And then I'm also rotating the shoulders back in this position. All right, so here I'm just shimmying myself forward, What I do not want to do is, I don't want to start bending the spine to get my chest closer to my shins. I want to maintain this upright position and gradually work myself forward, maintaining that straight spine and hinging at the hips as opposed to the spine. All right, 2-minute hold on that. What else? Seated piriformis stretch. I got the phone actually rested on the, you know what, actually I could do it up here. I have the phone on the chair, so you would typically do this in a chair or whatever, something to get you about a 90-degree bend in your knees. Sit nice and upright, maintaining that neutral spinal position. Everything's posture's where it should be. Get in the habit of keeping them shoulders back. We're gonna cross the leg, okay? Get yourself into dorsiflexion. You're flexing the foot in this position, staying upright. It's important to maintain this dorsiflexion because if you don't, you could hurt the knee. Okay, so we flex here to keep the knee safe. And what I want you to do is, nice and upright, you're gonna use your arm to depress on this leg. Our goal is to get this leg flat. We wanna try to get it as flat as we can, maintaining this position, this posture. Same deal, you're gonna do 2 minutes on this leg, 2 minutes on this leg. Okay, keeping your posture, all right? The last one is a couch stretch. Couch, like, you know, the couch you sit on, but this is not sedentary at all. It's actually pretty difficult. So I'm gonna have you, I want your shin flush against the wall behind you. So I'll actually start with the right leg. So my shin's nice and flush against the wall, okay? I'm propping myself up with my hands. And what I want to do is I want to flex my pelvis forward, okay? So I want to get a, I guess that would be an external rotation of the pelvis. So the pelvis is rotating this way, okay? Like we do when we try to get into that neutral spinal position. So we want to rotate that pelvis, okay? Get the hip flexor stretched out, and we're going to hold this position. When you get flexible enough, you're going to be able to work this leg forward and ultimately get yourself upright. It's going to free up those hips. It's going to open the hips up a little bit, give you a little bit more range of motion, and serve you well for the functional routine I have you doing. 2 minutes on this leg, and same deal. 2 minutes on the other. You want to work your way on getting into the upright position. If you can't get there, don't worry about it. Work your way up to it. So that's all we're doing. It's 7 different stretches. We're going to stick with that for right now. And as far as your functional routine is concerned, you'd ask me today, is this all I do? And I said yes. But ultimately, you're going to want to add some variation to that in time. So I want you to get acclimated with that first. Maybe take about 2 weeks. 3 weeks doing it, get yourself acclimated to it, and then we'll create a couple other routines that you can do throughout the week that's going to add variation to these core exercises that you're doing, and we're also going to add completely different exercises to work different muscle groups in a different way. But for right now, let's just try to keep it simple.